Ever imagine hitting that runner's high isn't just from endorphins, but because your gut is actually like helping you perform better? That's kind of what we're diving into today. We're going to be looking at how gut health and athletic performance are linked. We've got 3 articles here to help us out with that. And what's cool is that this isn't just for like serious runners. It's relevant whether you're just hitting the gym or even just trying to feel more energized throughout the day.
Right. And to really get it, I think we need to start with some basics.
Yeah, for sure.
So think of your gut, right? It's like this busy city, just teeming with trillions of these microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, the whole gang. They all make up what we call the gut microbiome.
So it's like this whole ecosystem living inside of us, and it impacts our health and how we feel.
Exactly. And just like with any ecosystem, balance is key, right? So when we talk about a healthy gut, what we're really talking about is a balanced microbiome, where the good bacteria are outnumbering the bad bacteria.
Exactly.
And this balance affects everything. How well you digest your food, how strong your immune system is, even how sharp you are mentally.
It's crazy how much it can impact. One article, Health Views Online, mentioned that nearly 70% of our immune system is actually in our gut.
It is.
That's a huge amount.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is. And it really highlights why gut health is so important for athletes, especially, when you're pushing your body that hard, it can make you more susceptible to getting sick.
Oh, yeah.
But a balanced gut, well, that can help you build up your defenses,
Yeah,
keep you healthy and training consistently.
I see. So it's not just about feeling good, it's also about avoiding those setbacks from like getting sick and having to take time off, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The article also mentioned something called Veillonella bacteria and how it might even have an impact on endurance. What's that about?
Oh, yeah. The research on Veillonella, this was published in Nature Medicine, and it's super fascinating. So these bacteria, they produce something called short-chain fatty acids. And studies are showing that those can actually boost your endurance. They kind of act like an extra fuel source for your muscles.
Wow. So these tiny little organisms living in our gut could be giving us that extra push to run farther or cycle harder or whatever.
That's what the research is suggesting, yeah.
It's wild.
And even if you aren't, training for a marathon or anything, better nutrient absorption means more energy for all kinds of things. Walking, playing with your kids.
Everyday stuff.
Yeah, just more energy for life in general.
I like that. Okay, so we've got more energy, but what about those sore muscles after a tough workout? Can a healthy gut help with that?
Absolutely. You see, when you get sore muscles, it's from these tiny little tears that happen during exercise. Inflammation is part of the healing process, but if you have too much of it, well, that can really slow you down. The good news is that a healthy gut microbiome, it actually produces anti-inflammatory compounds that can help reduce that muscle soreness and speed up your recovery.
So less time on the sidelines, more time training. I
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Both Health Views Online and TBC personal trainers mentioned a connection between gut health and like the mental side of athletics too. It's not something I've ever really thought about before.
It's really interesting. Your gut actually produces neurotransmitters that directly impact your mood, your focus, and even how well you cope with stress.
Wow.
So a balanced gut can mean less pre-game anxiety,
Oh, interesting.
better focus during competition,
Yeah.
and even a faster recovery from setbacks
Yeah.
mentally.
So it's like having a secret weapon for your mental game.
It kind of is, and that's just as important as physical strength, especially when things get tough.
For sure, yeah.
It all comes back to that balance within your gut's ecosystem. When things are working together well, it positively affects every aspect of your well-being, your physical performance, your mental resilience.
Okay, this is all super interesting, but I feel like there's a lot of hype out there about gut health too. One myth that Health Views Online debunked was that probiotics are like a magic bullet for performance.
Yeah, that's a really common misconception.
Is it?
Yeah. Probiotics definitely support a healthy gut, that's true. In fact, they cited a study in nutrients that showed athletes who were taking probiotics had fewer gut issues during intense training. But it's not an instant fix. Their impact is gradual,
Right.
and it needs to be combined with, a healthy diet and training regimen.
So popping a probiotic pill won't suddenly make me an Olympic athlete, but it could be helpful as a part of an overall approach.
Exactly. And when it comes to diet, there are some really simple things you can do to nurture your gut microbiome.
Like what kind of things?
Fiber is essential. It acts as what we call a prebiotic, which is basically just food for all those good bacteria living in your gut. So
Yeah.
fruits, veggies, whole grains, those are your go-tos for that.
So load up on those fruits and veggies. Got it. What else should we be adding to our plates?
Fermented foods are fantastic sources of probiotics. yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi.
Love kimchi. Okay, so we got our probiotics, and what about those prebiotics we talked about?
Yeah, so along with the fiber-rich fruits and veggies, try adding some things like garlic, onions, asparagus to your meals.
Okay.
It all helps to create a good environment for that beneficial gut bacteria to thrive.
It's amazing to think that, like, simple dietary changes can have such a big impact on our gut and, in turn, our athletic performance. What about hydration?
Oh, hydration's crucial, not just for your muscles, but for your gut too.
Really?
Yeah, dehydration can actually lead to constipation and mess with how your body absorbs nutrients, which, as we've talked about, that's essential for energy and recovery.
So make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day, especially if you're training hard. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
and it's clear that gut health plays a much bigger role in athletic performance than a lot of people think.
It really does. And, while we've been focusing on the athletic angle today, these principles apply to pretty much everyone. A healthy gut is the foundation of overall well-being.
I feel that. So even if you're not out there training for a marathon, a healthy gut can boost your energy levels, help you recover faster from just any physical activity, and even improve your mental focus.
Exactly. It's an investment in your health and well-being no matter what your fitness goals are.
So, as we move on to part 2 of this deep dive, take a moment to think about this. Knowing how much your gut impacts how you feel overall. What's one small change you can make today to start supporting your microbiome? Maybe adding an extra serving of veggies to dinner, or trying a new fermented food. Even small changes can make a big difference.
Yeah, it's amazing how, even small changes can really impact, so many different areas of our health.
It's true.
Even something as simple as, upping your fiber intake can shift the balance of your gut microbiome in a really good way.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect, right?
Totally.
You give your gut the good stuff it needs, and then it rewards you with more energy, better digestion, and even like a boost in mood. Speaking of giving your gut the good stuff, this Endurance article had some pretty interesting stuff about prebiotics and probiotics.
Yeah.
Can you remind us what the difference is again between those two?
Okay, so think of it this way, right?
Huh.
Prebiotics are like the fuel for your probiotics. Probiotics are the actual good bacteria.
Okay.
So you're basically setting the table for all the good bacteria to, thrive and multiply.
So prebiotics are kind of like fertilizer for our gut garden.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the best part is you don't need to go searching for some crazy exotic ingredients or anything to get those prebiotics. Garlic, onions, bananas, those are all packed with prebiotics.
I like that. It makes it seem like a healthy gut is more attainable than people might think.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about probiotics? Where do those fit into everything?
So probiotics, those are the actual beneficial bacteria that are keeping your gut balanced. And you can get those from foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, all those fermented goodies.
Right.
This Endurance article also mentioned that probiotic supplements are an option too,
Oh, okay.
especially if you want a more concentrated dose.
So supplements can be helpful, but they shouldn't necessarily replace a healthy diet that's already rich in those naturally fermented foods, right?
Exactly. It's all about balance,
Yeah.
finding what works for you because, one size doesn't fit all when it comes to gut health.
The TBC Personal Trainers article really emphasized that whole gut-brain connection.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting how it all ties in, you know?
That gut-brain connection is so important.
Yeah.
And it's often overlooked when we talk about overall health and wellness. It's wild to think that those little microscopic organisms living in your gut can actually affect your mental and emotional state,
For real. The article mentioned that a balanced gut can lead to improvements in mood and focus and even motivation. And that's huge for athletes, but it's also relevant to anyone facing, everyday stress and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Think about those days where you're feeling sluggish or just can't focus or when, anxiety is creeping in, whether it's before a big presentation at work or a tough workout. If your gut is off, well, it can make all those feelings worse.
Yeah, that's true.
It really can.
So taking care of your gut can actually make you more resilient, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. You'll be better equipped to deal with stress, stay focused, and bounce back faster from setbacks. It's like building up this mental armor from the inside out.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about how important a healthy gut is, but what are some practical things people can do to actually improve their gut health? All 3 of the articles gave some good tips.
They did. And they all kind of highlighted the importance of a balanced diet to start with.
Okay, so lots of fruits, veggies, and whole grains, those prebiotic powerhouses we were talking about before.
Exactly. And don't forget the fermented foods for a nice boost of probiotics.
Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. And something else that came up a lot was hydration. We all know that water is important for our muscles and everything,
Yeah.
but it's really crucial for digestion too.
Oh, yeah. I don't think about that.
Yeah, it helps things move smoothly.
So make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day,
Yeah.
especially if you're active, right?
Yep. And this one might seem obvious, but chewing your food thoroughly. I know we've all been guilty of like scarfing down a meal every now and then, but digestion actually starts in the mouth.
That's true. I forget that.
So chewing your food properly gives those digestive enzymes a head start.
Oh, okay, I see. So slow down, savor your food, and give your gut a little help there.
Exactly.
All three articles also emphasize limiting processed foods, too.
Yeah, those highly processed sugary snacks, they can really throw off the balance of your gut microbiome.
It's like throwing a wrench in the whole thing.
Exactly. While those treats are okay once in a while, it's important to focus on whole, unprocessed foods as the foundation of your diet.
Makes sense. Now, beyond diet, are there any other lifestyle factors that can affect gut health?
Stress, that's a big one.
Yeah.
It's tough to avoid stress completely in our busy lives, but chronic stress can really mess with your gut microbiome.
I guess it makes sense that our gut bacteria would be sensitive to those stress hormones.
They are. That's why finding healthy ways to manage stress is so important for both your mental health and your gut health.
Okay, so what kinds of things can people do?
Things like exercise, meditation, spending time out in nature, even listening to music. All that stuff helps to lower your stress levels and promote a healthier gut.
I feel that. And speaking of exercise, TBC personal trainers pointed out that physical activity can actually benefit gut health.
Which makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Exercise improves your circulation, which helps those nutrients get to your gut and keeps things moving.
So moving our bodies is good for our muscles and our microbes.
Exactly. The article also mentions sleep.
Oh, of course. Sleep is so important.
It's often neglected, but it's crucial for, well, everything, including gut health.
Makes sense.
When you're sleep deprived, your body makes more of that stress hormone, cortisol. And, like we talked about, that can negatively impact your gut microbiome.
So those 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night aren't just about feeling rested. They're also about giving your gut a chance to restore and rebalance itself.
Exactly. A well-rested gut is a happy gut. All three sources seem to agree that gut health is a really complex topic, and there's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah, it seems like the research is always changing too.
It is, and that's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah.
This Endurance article talked about how the future of fitness and gut health research is so exciting.
I can imagine. What kinds of things did they mention?
Well, they talked about scientists looking into personalized dietary and training recommendations based on your own unique gut microbiome.
That's crazy. It's like the ultimate personalized fitness plan, but it's not just based on your physical needs, but on your unique gut ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this roadmap to help you reach your fitness goals.
It sounds like it. It's pretty amazing stuff. This Endurance article also mentioned fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT. I'll admit the name is a little intimidating.
Yeah, no, it sounds kind of off-putting.
It does.
But it's actually a pretty promising therapy. It involves taking fecal matter from a healthy donor and transplanting it into someone with a gut microbiome imbalance.
Oh, wow. So you're literally transplanting good bacteria from one person to another to try and restore that balance.
That's a great way to put it. And it's been super effective for treating some gut conditions, like Clostridium difficile infection.
Oh, wow. I've heard that can be really hard to treat.
It can. Traditional methods don't always work, so in those cases, it can be life-saving.
Wow. So it's not just about improving gut health in general, and in some cases it can be a really important treatment.
Absolutely. And the research is expanding so fast. Scientists are now looking at FMT for things like inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, even autism.
It's incredible. It sounds like we're on the edge of a whole new way of thinking about how we treat these conditions. Personalized interventions, FMT. These are really cutting-edge advancements.
They are.
They really show how much potential there is in gut health research.
It's a super exciting time to be learning about all this stuff. Every new study seems to uncover even more ways that the gut impacts our health.
It really makes you realize how connected everything is in our bodies. So with all this new research, all this potential, what should people be thinking about when they're trying to improve their own gut health?
Okay, well, first of all, stay informed, keep up with the research, and don't be afraid to ask your healthcare provider about any new developments and stuff. But even with all the amazing advances, those basic foundations of gut health are still really important. Balanced diet, stress management, enough sleep, regular physical activity.
It sounds like those lifestyle changes are the key, no matter what new discoveries are on the horizon.
Exactly. And remember, gut health isn't like this destination. It's a journey. Be patient, experiment, and find what works for you. Your gut will thank you.
Good advice.
Okay.
Okay, so as we move into the last part of our deep dive, keep this in mind. Gut health isn't just about physical well-being. It's about mental and emotional well-being, too. It's about nourishing your body and mind from the inside out. We've spent the last two parts of this deep dive talking a lot about gut health. We've covered everything from like the basics of what the microbiome even is to like how it can impact your athletic performance. But one of the things you brought up was some research on where this field is headed, and it seems like we're only just starting to figure all this stuff out.
It really is. And that's what makes it such an interesting area to be looking at right now. There's so much more to discover.
Yeah.
As we learn more, we're coming up with even better ways to actually improve gut health.
One of the articles, as Durance, I think, mentioned something called personalized gut health interventions. What does that even mean? Is that like getting your gut microbiome analyzed and then getting specific recommendations based on that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So scientists are working on ways to actually analyze each person's gut bacteria and then create like a plan based on that.
Okay.
So it would include diet recommendations, lifestyle changes, maybe even specific supplements. Takes out all the guesswork.
So instead of just following some generic advice, you get a plan that's made just for you and your gut.
Exactly.
It's kind of like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
Oh.
But it's becoming a reality. And it has a lot of potential, not just for athletes trying to, boost their performance, but for anyone who wants to improve their overall health.
It would be amazing to have that kind of like personalized guidance for your gut.
It would.
This Endurance article also mentioned something called fecal microbiota transplantation.
Oh, yes.
FMT. It sounds kind of intimidating.
I know. The name's a little off-putting. But it's a very promising therapy, actually. So it basically involves taking fecal matter from a healthy donor
Okay.
and transplanting it into someone who has a gut microbiome imbalance.
So you're literally like transplanting good bacteria from one person to another to try and fix that balance.
That's exactly right. And it's been super effective at treating some gut conditions, like Clostridium difficile infection,
Oh, wow.
which can be really hard to treat otherwise.
So in some cases, it's not just about improving gut health overall, but it can be a really important treatment option.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And the research on it is expanding all the time. They're now looking at it as a treatment for things like inflammatory bowel disease, obesity,
Yeah.
even autism.
That's incredible. It sounds like we're about to see some big changes in how we treat all kinds of conditions.
I think so.
Personalized interventions, FMT, it's really cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And it shows just how much potential there is in gut health research.
It really does.
It makes you realize how connected everything is in the body. So with all this new research, all this potential, what should people keep in mind as they're, trying to improve their gut health?
Well, I would say, first of all, just stay informed, right?
Right.
Keep up with the research and don't be afraid to ask your healthcare provider about new things. But even with all these new advances, the basic foundations of a healthy gut are still the most important. A balanced diet, managing your stress levels, getting enough sleep, regular physical activity.
It sounds like those lifestyle changes are always going to be the most important thing, no matter what new discoveries we make.
Exactly. And just remember that gut health is not like this end goal. It's an ongoing process. Be patient with yourself. See what works for you. Your gut will thank you.
I think that's great advice, and I think it's safe to say that we've learned a lot from this deep dive. We've learned that the gut microbiome is a super complex world, and it impacts pretty much every aspect of our health and well-being, from energy levels and digestion to our immune system, mental clarity, and even how well we perform athletically.
Yeah. And as we keep learning more about the gut, I think we can expect even more amazing discoveries in the future. This is really just the beginning.
It's exciting. So as we wrap up, we hope you come away from this deep dive with a better understanding of the amazing world that's inside all of us in our guts. And remember, even small changes can make a difference. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those microbes happy.